do not buy an HP printer, and here's why. HP's updating the software on their printers to only work with their own first-party ink. So that means the printer that you might have been using for years with third-party ink will just straight up refuse to work with the ink cartridges that are perfectly fine. HP says this is to increase the security of your printer, but I think we can all tell it's just to increase their profit margins. It's like when I try to increase my follower count by asking you to follow this channel, but at least I'm being honest about it. Also, if you do get a new HP printer, do not accept the initial free ink offering because it will make it so the printer will update itself in the same way as I just mentioned. Let me know what you think about this down below. Welcome back to the channel. So today on the chopping block, we have HP with a pretty shitty practice that has sort of been going on to some extent in the printing world for quite a while. So this has been prompted by a person basically buying their usual third-party cartridge for their HP printer, and all of a sudden they cannot use it anymore. They've been using it for years. However, there was a random update for their HP printer, and the printer was just like, no. No. So why is HP actually doing this? Why are they being so shitty? Why are they just trying to get as much money as possible? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Most printers in the world are actually sold at a loss, or they just barely break even. The same sort of thing happens with Microsoft's Xbox consoles, for example. Like the Series S is sold at a gigantic loss. Microsoft is just hoping that after you buy the console, you're actually gonna purchase software for it, which you're gonna purchase from Microsoft. So Microsoft is gonna make their money that way. And that's the same approach that a printer selling company like HP might take. They want to sell you the printer, which might sort of cost them a little bit of money at first, but if you then just use that printer for the next decade and you just keep buying their ink, then they're actually going to make a ton of money off of you. And obviously banning third-party options is pretty bad because that's just monopolistic behavior. For instance, imagine if you bought an electric toothbrush and if you put a different brand of toothpaste on it, like the toothbrush would just say, hey, if it's not Colgate toothpaste, I'm just not gonna work. You know, like that would be very ridiculous. And an even more real-world example for me is my Saab vehicle car. That was a Swedish car company that doesn't exist anymore. So my car, for instance, the company behind it doesn't exist anymore. If I need any new parts, they don't really make them. So there's just a ton of third-party parts made for my car. And if Saab way back in 2008, when this vehicle was manufactured, just really took their time, like Apple does, for example, to make sure that third-party parts just do not work, then at this point I could, for instance, get a broken sensor somewhere. I have a broken fuel sensor at the moment, but I just got a third-party one that I'm gonna have installed eventually. But if I got some sort of a sensor and it just prevented me from driving my car, and my car would be totally fine, but I just couldn't get the sensor, then my whole car would be useless and it would just be waste on this planet, which is obviously bad for me, bad for the planet, just bad for everyone. Another very well-known shitty practice in the printer world, my Canon printer does this bullshit as well, is the practice of that the software will tell you that your cartridges are empty way before they are empty. My cartridges, for example, will start screaming at me like, hey, you only have like 5% of ink left, and that is actually still like 50% of the entire cartridge left. Like it's really... It's ridiculous. Obviously pretty bad for the environment as well, because you're going to be throwing away these cartridges way before you would need to, and obviously it's really bad for your wallet, but it's very good for the companies that keep selling you ink, because now you might buy 3 or 4 ink cartridges within a year instead of maybe 1 or 2. And now HP is even DRMing their printers. So basically what's happening is if you get a new printer, it might work with third-party ink, but they offer you a free 6-month subscription for the ink and an extended warranty. So it seems pretty lucrative, right? They also, I think, say that they plant trees on your behalf as well. So you're obviously going to take this deal. However, in the sort of hidden print, they also update the software on your printer, which makes it so that your printer will no longer be able to accept third-party cartridges. So you will be locked into HP forever. So again, they're giving you free ink ink and more things for 6 months. However, now that you're only going to be able to buy HP cartridges, they're going to make way more money off of you than if you only sometimes bought HP cartridges and the rest of the time went for third party, because it's basically the same and a little bit cheaper. And lastly, I would just want to say is that we have so much regulation in this world, and where the heck is regulation for this sort of behavior? I mean, especially this first story, this would have pissed me off so much. Like, imagine using the same printer for like a decade with third-party cartridges, and one day when you need to get something printed, perhaps an assignment, whatever, you just need to get something printed, and you have the cartridges that you've always had, you know, you just purchase them, and now your printer's like, no, yeah, I'm just deciding not to do it. I totally could do it, I just like won't. Bro, what you gonna do about it? So good job HP at just trying to make as much money as possible and just being a shitty corporation. Hopefully the rest of you have a nice day. Thank you for watching the video, and hopefully I will see you next time.